What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Heart of the City, episode 118. And check it out. We got a lot going down around the hood, around the blocks, around the streets. We're going to be talking about March Madness. Yeah, March Madness. You ain't think we was going to forget about March Madness, right? We got the Red Storm, St. John's. Some people not liking where they sitting. We're going to get into that. Jets making moves. The goddamn Jets. Yeah, they always in the news making moves. New quarterback or changing quarterbacks. Knicks and Nets actually squaring off Friday night. So we'll get into that and see where each team is sitting. And the Giants. Some people believe the Giants are going to be big time contenders. We'll take a little sneak peek and see who might be getting in the way of that. All that, much more, man. I'm your host, Unpopular Opinion Sports, with my big bro, Coach Ed Gladney from Coach Ed's Sports. Coach, how you feeling tonight?
Yo, I'm good, but I'm ready to go, man. Cause I got something got to get off my chest, man.
Bet that. I bet that, man. So, before we get into coaches, well, not coach's corner, but this is a coach's rant. Y'all stay tuned for that, man. We about to come right back. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. We got my bro Pat doing this thing in the background. You know he gonna pop in and out from time to time. But y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe, man. Let's kick this thing off, man. It's Heart of the City. Yeah. The vibe.
Ricey K, the Raisin Man.
Man, appreciate everybody tapping in, man, for this new edition of Heart of the City. Man, it is cold and windy, man. Cold and windy, so I hope you are warm where you at, because on the East Coast, they putting us in a deep freeze. And they trying to put St. John's in a deep freeze, Coach. When you look at this bracket, now St. John's did win the Big East. And they beat UConn. But they didn't even get a top seed, meaning a top 4 seed. And shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Iman Perry, always out here, man. Appreciate you, dog. Holding us down as always. Another one, man. Danbury Sports also holding us down as always, man. Appreciate you, bro. Hope you tapped in and feeling good, vibing wherever you at. Matt Snarf, salute, man. Appreciate you tapping in, bro. Hope all is well with you, my friend. All right.
See me moving? Or is my screen still frozen?
You good? You good?
No, all right, because it says Iman said, "Is my screen frozen?" So I didn't know.
Oh, I think it was for like a second or something. But
Okay.
You straight now, bro. We got you. Dewani, peace and salute, man. Appreciate you tapping in. We're gonna get into this St. John's thing, y'all, and then we're gonna move into some football. We got some interesting things to talk about with the Giants and the Jets. Y'all stay tuned. And then later on, Knicks versus Nets. Y'all know how we do over here, man. At heart of the city when it comes to the Knicks and Nets. So y'all gonna want to be here for that. But first things first. This bracket here, okay, with St. John's, let me there you go, producer got me so y'all could see that. Now, if you look to the left side of it, you got St. John's, well, you got Duke, Siena, you got Ohio State, TCU, then you got St. John's as a 5th seed. A 5th seed in the bracket with Duke. Also got Kansas in that bracket, Louisville, Michigan State, UConn, who they beat, and UCLA. So that is a tough bracket over there in the East on the road to the Final Four. Carolina 6. Yeah. I'll throw that in there. No, it ain't part of Heart of the City, but yeah, VCU is tough. But back to business. St. John's, man. Coach, I know you got some I know you got some heat for this one, bro. How are you feeling about first of all, St. John's chance? It's March Madness, man. We got to give college basketball some love. St. John's chances in this bracket, because there are some picking them to go to the Final Four, believe it or not. I've heard them. And do you think they got robbed or snubbed is the question. All right, man.
Everyone always has a chance. I mean, you got to play the game, plain and simple. So, and there, to me, St. John's is a good team. I mean, how is it that they're a 5 seed and everything that I've heard is this is the toughest region? How is it that they're a number 5 seed? They're the Big East regular season champs and the Big East tournament champs. Now, I've heard the argument that the Big East isn't as tough as it's been in the past, and I get that. After the top 5 teams, everyone else is below 500. Okay, I get that. But even though they split with UConn during the regular season, and UConn is a former national champion, and in the Big East, they blew them out in the championship game. I'll say that again. They blew them out. And I'm not talking about by no 10 points, 20 points. That's no easy feat right there in itself. Now, I also understand they started off slow, 9-5, and there was question. But they won 19 of 20 games since that. That right there, even in a conference that's not as strong as it's usually been, speaks volumes to how St. John's is a better team than the committee thinks, and they deserve a better seeding than what they received. They are getting robbed. Now, everyone uses all these metrics. Well, they're ranked 10th in the final AP rankings, 9th in the coaches poll, 16th in the net rankings, and in CBS Sports 25-1, they're ranked 14th. So, through all these rankings, everyone else is telling me St. John's is much better than the community is thinking. Now, okay, I know people argue quad games, especially in the beginning of the season. They lost to Auburn and they lost to some good teams, and that I just addressed that they started slow, but in that they have some good quad wins. Ole Miss, UConn, Villanova, Seton Hall. That don't count for anything. Winning the Big East, the regular season, and the championship, no matter if it isn't strong as usual, doesn't count for much. I mean, it seems like to me that they're saying the Big East right now is more of a mid-major than a power conference in basketball. And I'm sorry, we all know that's bullshit.
Yeah, that's straight cat.
That right there, because the actions are telling me, you're telling us that, okay, the Big East, all right, they most of the other teams had a little, but St. John's has played some quality teams. Yes, in the start it wasn't good, but to win 19 to 20 to close out the season and win the regular season as well as the Big East tournament, that speaks volumes in itself right there. I mean, I don't know. I feel like this is a personal attack on St. John's.
But why? Why is it do you think it's because of the coach?
Yes.
Patino?
I think it's because of Patino, for one. Some of these people, they just don't like his whatever. They're penalizing him for the past. They're thinking, because I do think that there's some ageism going around in sports. Sorry, I do. They think because you hit a certain age, you can't coach anymore. Rick Pitino can coach his ass off. I saw that speech that he was giving in the locker room where he was challenging his team. That's what a coach is supposed to do. Now, look, I'm not a big St. John's fan. Everybody knows I'm Rutgers, but I respect St. John's. And I go back in its history. I love Louis Carnesecca. I Mark Jackson, Walter. So I know about the history. But again, I do feel like this committee is penalizing the Red Storm, and then you're giving UConn too much respect. A 2 seed. How is that? I mean, if the Huskies are going to receive that kind of respect, remember, they split during the regulars.
But they do that to UConn, though. They always, even in the women's, they do it. You know that. Yes. They always get more love than they should. Even when they're now, UConn is a dominant basketball program. Yes, we all know.
Respect.
But they not that good every year. But every year they always get a top seed.
But okay, if they're getting a top seed now, and they split with St. John's, and there's only one game that's difference, I will say UConn has a better overall record by one game. One game. But don't forget, they lost to them. They lost in the regular season, 1-1, and then you got blown out in the Big East championship. Oh, let's not forget, St. John's is also back-to-back Big East champions. I mean, the committee, and it also boggles my mind because I was watching Unrivaled, and they're talking about the committee did a great job. First of all, you're in New York City. Yes, whatchamacallit is in Connecticut. ESPN is in Connecticut. I get that. But how the fuck are you going to sit here and tell me that, okay, look, you want to say UConn is better? If you had to put St. John's as number 3 seed, and then on top of this, here's the one other thing. You put the top 2 teams in the Big East in the same fucking region. Usually you split them. but you're putting them in the same fucking region.
And they never put Duke and Carolina in the same region, hardly ever. I'm a Carolina fan, I know. They're never, like, right now, they're not in the same bracket. Because Duke's up here and Carolina's down here in the South. So they always do that. Now, they ain't the top two teams in the ACC not this year, but they are the rival teams of college basketball. But yeah, it's crazy.
The two top teams in the Big East in the same region, and you're putting the champion underneath the runner-up, who they blew out. I mean, if you're gonna tell, I mean, look, they're gonna they always talk about these quad 1 wins, quad 4 wins or losses, and all this. And I get all that. I get that's your way of trying to justify things, but plain and simple says they're one game apart in terms of overall record. So it's not like St. John's got on a hot run and they didn't have a good record during the regular season and got a hot run to make the run in the Big East tournament. That would be a different argument. You're talking about one game between the two, and then in the championship you blew out UConn. There's no way, to me, you can justify this. You just can't. I think it's a terrible job, and it goes more into more. This is why I continue to move away from March Madness and doing these brackets and really getting invested and getting excited. And I'm just not feeling it. And this right here, look, I'm nobody. I get it. I'm just one man. But I'll be honest with you, I may not watch the whole tournament, because to me, this is not fair. This is not justifiable. Right is right, wrong is wrong.
But check it out. Here's the flip side. Before we switch gears here, there's a path for a Cinderella story here, though.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
now if they blow through this bracket, and beat Duke and beat UConn.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then they will be justified as being there and being champions, and you can't say shit at that point. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm
cool with that. Yeah,
we'll see how it plays out. You know what I'm saying? But Cave, what's good with you, man? Appreciate you tapping in. We're gonna go around the city, man. We're gonna hit these blocks, man, and we're going to talk football. We're going to talk basketball. We're going to talk baseball. You know how we do it. We're going to get into Cultures segment right after that, and then Coach's Corner. So let's get into Around the City, though.
I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Said I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Yeah, I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Yeah, I want the power, the love and respect first.
All right, let's jump right into it. Shout out to Coach for this one, man. Appreciate you, bro. New York Giants.
New York Giants.
New York Giants. Yeah, everybody pumped up for the G-Man. But punks jump up to get what? Beat down. So let's see if the Giants, you know what I'm saying, going to get beat down or not this season, because other teams have made moves too. And this article points it out very nicely. Article from SI's Jeremy Brainer. Let's get into this. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed for Unpopular Opinion Sports and Coach Ed Sports, as well as the Aboriginal Sports Network. All right. So they rank them, right? So it's saying the New York Giants opponents have been reshaping their roster the first week of free agency. With more moves expected league-wide, let's take a look at the early power rankings of all the Giants' 2026 opponents after the first week of free agency. Because let's be honest, a lot of people are talking about the Giants possibly going to the playoffs, or shit, maybe even the Super Bowl. A lot of high hopes with John Harbaugh. So I want y'all to pay attention to this. All right, checking in at number 14, the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona Cardinals are going to be Chiefs this year. I think we all know that. I think they are going to be one of those teams in the running for a top pick, a top quarterback, getting rid of Kyler Murray. They did add Ciamalo and Tyler Algier, which may strengthen their offense, but the team remains several pieces from being competitive in the playoff race. They start Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew. Good luck. Giants don't beat them. They don't deserve to be on the football field. All right. Checking in at number 13. We ain't even gonna talk about these guys, the Cardinals. But this is an interesting one right here. The Cleveland Browns. The Browns have strengthened their offensive line, adding Zion Johnson from the Cardinals and Elton Jenkins from the Packers. Beyond that, the offensive moves have been their offensive moves have been limited. The storyline of the Giants John Harbaugh butting heads with Todd Monken, dial that shit up, Todd. His OC that he wanted so bad. From their time together in Baltimore. Also, the Giants facing Shedeur Sanders versus Jackson Dart. That's going to be an interesting one. And then you got the Myles Garrett over there wanting to kill your quarterback. And the Giants offensive line, who, by the way, looks like they're going to be returning all 5 starters. How y'all feel about this one? We're going to start it off here. How y'all feeling?
I love Shedeur, but if we do what we're supposed to do defensively, we're going to cause problems for him. Now, look, I got to respect, Cleveland, what they're doing. Now, Harbaugh knows Monken, just like Monken knows him, but there's right. Some little tweaks, a little differences. But again, Monken is also a first-time head coach, so stepping up into the top seat is a little bit different. Now, when we play them also matters. If it's early in the season, I would give the Giants a better advantage. If it's later in the season, depending on how things go, who knows? But again, you also will have both teams that will have second-year quarterbacks. So, that factors. Now, if Malik Neighbors is out there, he probably will be the best receiver out there. And, Cleveland in their run game, what do you have? Because will we have the best running back? Who knows? Right now I'm confident. Don't forget, having
Sean Junkins is nice though, Coach.
Yeah, I know. I understand, but so is Cam Scapple and Tracy. See, I'm looking at the full spectrum. I'm not looking at everybody in the running back. So, there's different pieces. It's not just one player. So, then likely, because remember, Cleveland also lost their big time tight end. So how do you replace that? Now, again, this is week after week.
Yeah,
one.
That's right.
So, likely comes in, and then we have our, I know people have a love-hate, whatever, but the players that we brought in.
He's called Harold Fannin Jr.
Okay.
The replacement for Njoku.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, he's pretty good.
Okay, no, he's good. So, okay, it kind of balances out. Thank you, Pat. But again, these may be mirror offenses, and we gotta see what happens. But I feel confident in what we can do. And Cleveland's defense, no disrespect, they are a very good defense. So it's going to come down to.
That's why I mentioned Myles Garrett. I just mentioned him. That's all you need to know. But there's other guys. There's other pieces out there.
Look at our front too now.
Yeah.
With Carter, Tibbs is still here right now. Burns, Dexter Lawrence. So it goes both ways. This could easily be a defensive battle. So but I wait a minute. This game is in Cleveland. So again, it depends on when this game is played and how the season is going too. That's where I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, man. That's kind of how I feel with it too. All right. The Washington Commanders. I don't want to get too heavy into the division opponents, but we'll touch on the Commanders. We'll touch on all of them real quickly because, we'll do our NFC East preview thing. But the Commanders have been making moves. They added Odafe Owe, Chick Okonkwo from the Titans, Leo Chanel from the Kansas City Chiefs, defensive lineman Tim Settle from the Texans. The Commanders could be retooling for another big run in 2026. Still have a long way to go. They have a new offensive coordinator, David Blah, and Durante Jones, a new defensive coordinator. They still have, of course, they lost your boy, who everybody wanted in New York. I can't even think of his name right now. The offensive dude or whatever, Cliff Kingsbury. They lost him, so now they got Blow in there and whoever else, Durante Jones. But they are getting Jaden Daniels hopefully back healthy. You still got Scary Terry over there. We'll see if they're in on Brandon Ayuk. But what you think about the Commanders?
It's a division game.
Worried about them?
I'm not worried about them. It could be an even matchup. Gotta respect them. I mean, they did beat us twice last year. I have to at least respect that. But they're making changes just like us. So it's gonna end up, Leo Chanel. I definitely like. That's a good pickup there for them. Defensively. So we're just gonna see how it plays out on the field.
Yeah, it's always. I feel like it's always one way or the other. Here as of recently, it was for a long time the Giants just beating the shit out of them, and then lately it's been the Commanders beating upon the Giants. So we'll see how it goes this year. All right, this might be the game of the motherfucking year. I can't wait for this one. The Giants versus the Tennessee Titans. I cannot wait for this game, Coach. Oh, boy. Brian the Ball versus John Harbaugh and Joe Shane. Then you got Wan'Dale Robinson coming back, and Bellinger and Fly. And you got the number one quarterback taken last year versus the number two quarterback taken last year in last year's draft with Cam Ward and Jackson Dart. Tennessee's been making crazy moves. We talk about they're calling them the Tennessee Giants now. Bringing in all them Giants, bringing in some Jets. Leaf, what's good with you, man? Appreciate you, bro. I got you later. We're gonna tap in to basketball a little bit later if you're still around. But hey, Coach. What you think about Dayball's revenge game? Because it wasn't his fault. Everything I gathered from the Giants side of it was all Joe Shane's fault. Brian Daboll picked all the players, and he's a genius and one of the best offensive coordinators in the league. This is what people believe about this man. It's insane. How you feel about this matchup, though, bro?
I can't wait till we go up against Napoleon and their little crew over there. I I'm with you. When I saw that, I even said, yeah, I want this game. I don't usually, go into games like that saying, oh, I want this. Well, let me rephrase. I do that with Dallas, but other than that, but yeah, I want this one, just because it's him. That's it. I don't care about the players. It's about him. It's
Put
about
his
showing
ass.
him that you know what, you're not as great as you're making out to be. Everyone's saying, I've been saying since year 2 that he wasn't a good coach, and I even heard the rumblings from Bills fan when we hired him. They're like, he's not a good coach, so um, we're going to see. That game is going to see, and it's going to be an all out.
Oh,
Can't say the word I want to
this
say.
one, it don't even matter if these were two of the worst teams in football last year, which they were. This one got to be on prime time. It got to be, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This one will be one of the best games of the year. And they might be two good teams. Who knows? That'd be even better. But I can't wait for this one, yo. This one psychs me up. I don't get too psyched up about NFL football games no more, man, because I know what it's about. But this one, I'm pumped up for this one. It just screams bullshit, yo. All right. So New Orleans Saints, whatever. Not much to really talk about here. Giants and Saints do play each other pretty often, and they do play each other pretty well. It has actually been some pretty good games between the two. They've been kind of back and forth. Saints are usually better at home, but not as of late. But the Saints are in transition. Who the hell did they pick for quarterback? I can't even remember. Is it Tyler Shuck? Is he still over there?
Tyler Shuck, that's your quarterback.
Yeah, so Tyler Shuck will be added again for the Saints. The Saints gonna get it going on the ground though. They got Travis Etienne in free agency. They still got Kamara. He might be traded though.
It's not Etienne anymore. Remember, he came out and said his name is a chain. He did it. He did an interview that his family's name is a chain. Everybody was messing up his name, and he just went with it.
Etienne, okay.
A chain.
Well,
Yep, that's his name.
All right. Well, I'll just call him Travis. I don't like confusion. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna still say Etienne because it's embedded in my head.
Everyone.
So, but they got David Edwards. They got a linebacker. They brought in Caden Ellis from the Falcons. Mm-hmm. So the Saints are just gonna be the Saints aren't the high flying Saints no more. They like the blue collar Saints. They're gonna go in there, play defense, run the football, and try to keep the game close because they don't have that type of explosion on offense. So I think it makes them more of a dangerous team, to be honest with you, when they play that style of football. But what you think about this real quick, man, the Saints?
It's another one that, you know what, you just got to let it play out and see where things are, kind of like the Cleveland game, the situation. It's how are these teams when we play them? Because that's really what it boils down to with those teams.
Mm-hmm. So, you can just kind of see as we go through this schedule, y'all, just taking a quick peek at the Giants 2026 opponents. The schedule has not been made yet, but we're going to look at the opponents and to see how the Giants kind of stack up. We got an article here. Shout out to New York Giants on SI. Number 9 is going to be a juicy one too. I'm glad they playing the AFC South this year. The Colts. The Colts are coming to town with Danny Dimes. Colts bringing back Daniel Jones, brought back Alec Pierce. Colts, not doing a whole lot in free, but they did make some moves last year. Remember, they traded for Sauce Gardner. They traded Michael Pittman Jr., so we'll see how that plays out. But they get some draft capital. They got the draft and everything like that. They were one of the better offensive teams last year with that offensive line and with Jonathan Taylor running all over the field. So this is gonna be a slobber knocker, as they say. And I bet you Daniel Jones is gonna be highly motivated in this one, even if he might not show it on his face. It's gonna be in here. He gonna want to beat the shit out of the Giants. So, but what do you think about this matchup here with the Colts, man? As they check in at number 9 on the SI Power Ranking. Daniel Jones coming back to town. Maybe they're going to the Colts. I don't know how the home away gonna work out, but we'll see.
This could be a very dangerous game for New York. It especially depends on how Daniel Jones is playing. Because he was showing himself to be a worthy quarterback last year. You had to respect what he was bringing to the table. So now he did get hurt, and a lot of Giants fans were saying, "Well, see, that's one of the issues." Okay, yes, you're right. That is one of the issues. But like you just said, Daniel Jones is going to want to prove something to all the haters out here, all of them. People hated on him, and if he comes out here and you let him get going, he's proven before that he can win. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to really be interesting.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one too. This is going to be a good one. Giants versus Colts. The Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, we know what the Cowboys did. Not a lot. They got Jalen Thompson from the Cardinals. Pickens made a couple other moves. I'm pretty sure they'll still be out there lurking with 2 first-round picks. Don't know how they let that shit happen, but we know what the Cowboys about. The Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville Jaguars coach coming in at number 7. Yeah. Greg Newsom's return. The Greg Newsom revenge game. They got Prince Charming over there. They got Travis Hunter, who I guess they're gonna be putting at corner. How you feeling about the Jaguars? They were a playoff team last year. They got a good offense. A lot of Giants fans wanted Brian Thomas Jr. To get traded. I'm guilty. But what you think about the Jaguars, man? And the Giants playing the Jaguars in 2026.
Gotta respect Sunshine and what he brings to the table over there. So I'm being serious. I know I'm saying Sunshine, but I don't mean it as as a joke. I'm giving him respect because if you really think about it, Sunshine was a baller. When we looked at him in the movie, that's why I call him Sunshine, because he is a player. Gotta respect him. So it's gonna be a tough one, and Jacksonville played some good ball, like you said, last year. So it's not the same old Jaguars from the past. So it ain't. You gotta respect them. So it's gonna be tough.
Definitely gonna be tough.
What number rank do they have?
They got them at number 7.
Okay. Which is fair.
They got them at number 7. So, they got Chris Rodriguez. All right, number 6, the Detroit Lions. Ooh, that's a tough one too. Lions upgraded their offense. They went out there and got Isaiah Pacheco, Tyler Conklin. Hey, 2 Rutgers running backs in the NFC North with Pacheco and Cal Manunga. So, Lions, we know what the Lions about. Very tough team. They have beat up on the Giants in recent seasons. I don't like the matchup. I don't care what the Giants have done off season. That offensive line is real, and if they get another pass rusher, that defensive line is going to be real because they still got your boy Hutch and McNeil over there. What you think about the Lions in this and the potential matchup with the Giants?
Definitely going to be a tough one. Pop with what's his name? Gibbs in the backfield. That's thunder and lightning right there. So thunder, lightning, and some wind to go along with it. So it's dangerous. And then don't forget about what's his name? St. Brown in the pass game too. So if they get that run game going, it makes it tough. So, and like you said, defensively, and I like Christian Izzian going there, another Rutgers player, coming over from Tampa Bay. He's not the tallest. He's about 5'9", 5'10", but in some regards, he can play box, he can play slot corner, but he can also play deep. And if you want to say that there's a little bit of Bob Sanders in him from the old Colts, there you go. So he's on a 1-year prove it deal. So that's the other thing too. Him and Pop got 1-year prove it deal. So they want to prove that they can get paid off of their next contract, especially Pop being a running back. Pacheco's, for those of you who don't know. Us in Rutgers Nation they know him as Pop. So, but yeah, that's look, the offensive players that they got over there, man, come on. This is going to be tough. This defense is going to have to be on point.
James Williams, the tight end, Laporta. I don't know, man. But they got them at 6. So we're going to get into number 5 here. The Texans. The Texans added Braden Smith from the Colts. Reed Blankenship from the Eagles. They made another move too, didn't they? On the offensive line, I want to say.
I'm looking for it right now.
Wyatt Taylor. That's
Wyatt
what we was
Taylor.
thinking about. Wyatt Taylor. So yeah. If that offensive line is straight, it's gonna be a tough one for the Giants too, because the Texans defense is real scary. I mean, so if you can't get to CJ Stroud, which was their weakness last year, he got beat up because they got rid of all his damn linemen, and I don't. It's kind of like what they doing to Malik Willis in Miami. It's weird what they do to the Aboriginal quarterbacks. You know what I'm saying? They all get up, no protection. But anyway, another story for another day. The Texans, like I said, if they protect CJ Stroud, they're gonna be a problem for the Giants. That's why they got them at number 5. I'm gonna be honest with you. But what you think?
I think it's maybe a little bit too high, but again, it depends. I mean, I respect the defense, so it really comes down to about that offense. So, that's really, for me, that's really what it comes down to. Offensively, can we get to that defense? Because if we can get our running game going, I think, that really helps us a lot more. Because, if the running game is effective, then, that can help in terms of Likely and Neighbors downfield, in the passing game. So, that's really what it's going to be about there. And then defensively, like you said, we got to get after Stroud. That's the thing. If you get after Stroud and you hit him just like any other quarterback, he gets rattled.
Yeah. He's very susceptible to pressure. Like some quarterbacks, they kind of do. Like, I ain't gonna front. CJ Stroud dealt with it, but you could tell like he's just one of those guys. He's mobile, but he's not as mobile and athletic as some of the other quarterbacks out here. So, and then when he gets hit, I just think he's getting it's rough for him. You know what I'm saying over there, but when protected, I think he is one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. We just haven't seen it in the last few seasons. But so I respect the Texans. But all right, Philly, the Philadelphia Eagles, I think they too high. I think they about to fall apart, to be honest with you. But they got Woolen, which I didn't like. I hate they keep getting these big, tall corners, and the Giants want to get these little mini slot receivers. Anyway, they lost Jalen Phillips, Nakobe Dean, Blankenship. Might lose AJ Brown. I think the writing is on the wall for the Eagles. What you think, Coach?
Right now, if they don't trade AJ Brown and bring in Hollywood Brown, that helps them a lot. But yeah, it comes down to on the defensive side because the amount of players that they lost.
Brown for AJ Brown. I'm taking that deal, buddy. Hell yeah, do it, Eagles. Get AJ Brown out of there. You got Hollywood, so you got it. You got your other Brown you need, so it still hurts to Brown. Y'all don't have to change a thing. It's just gonna look different, a lot different.
I get what you're saying. You know, you think they're too high. I think they're right where they need to be. You know, they should be at number 4 based on the other teams that are behind them too. So,
this shit about to look a lot different over there.
You know, but until things change, and you know, it matters of what happens with that defense. If that defense clicks, I'm sorry, bro, it's going to be tough.
I ain't saying they're gonna fall off a cliff. I'm just saying.
No, I've heard fans who say
I don't think they're gonna win the division. You know what I'm saying?
And that means
I honestly think it may be the Giants or Cowboys, or possibly Washington if they get shit together. But right now, to me, it's looking like Giants and Cowboys, based on free agency and what we seen so far. But you know, still early. Of course, you get the draft. We gotta see what the draft looks like and all that stuff. So this is still early. Just a little fuck around exercise. Y'all know how we do.
I'm with you. I just think they're right where they need to be.
Okay.
Or not need to be. Where based on the rankings, where they're going to, where they and the other teams behind them, they're right where I think they ranked them right. That's the word I'm looking for.
The San Francisco 49ers. Number 3. Damn, they gotta play the 49ers. Ooh. I don't want to play them now.
Yeah,
they done went and got Mike Evans.
We're playing the NFC West.
Well, yeah, we're gonna get to that because top 3 teams on this schedule is coming from that direction. But yeah, they got Mike Evans, man. They got Odiggy Zua from the Cowboys. God damn, man. Yeah, they're gonna be a problem. We'll see what they do with Brandon Ayuk, but I don't think it's gonna matter. You got Evans, so if him and Jennings walk, whatever. You still got Christian McCaffrey, Brock Purdy, and Mac Jones over there to run now Kyle Shanahan's offense. But 49ers are a problem even when they're bad. They're just one of those type of teams. They're built well from ground up. What's your thoughts, though? Number 3, too high, too low?
It's about right. Number 3 is fine. Everything with them, for me, more than anything, and I'm not wishing this upon them, but it's about injuries. it's really about injuries. You know, Trent Williams, how old he is, and you know, can he last? Kittle's coming back from his injury. Christian McCaffrey always seems to get hurt. Purdy was hurt last year. I mean, you go down the list, and it's like, you know, they're another mash unit. So
even when they have injuries, they don't.
I get it. They're still fairly good. You know, when they played that.
Then when they healthy, they in the Super Bowl. So it's kind of like
the year before last, though. The injuries is what derailed them. But that's why I say that. You know, I mean, because you see that, and then last year they played a little bit better. You know, if the guys that come in can help them, yeah, they're a good squad. They're a very good squad. So I can see them contending to go to the Super Bowl. So I don't discredit that. That's why I say, you know, it's going to be tough. You know, and you know we're going to see. But for them, more than anything, to me, it's all about the injuries with them.
No doubt. All right, number 2, Seattle Seahawks. They the Super Bowl champs and they number 2. So you know this schedule crazy. I mean, but they lost some pieces though. As the article mentioned, you know, lost Kenneth Walker, Kobe Bryant to the Bears. Retain Shaheed, Josh Jones, and Josh Joby. Bro, Seattle, man. What's your thoughts on the Seahawks?
Respect to the Super
Giants. The Giants facing the Seahawks. A lot of Giants over there. Julian Love, Leonard Williams got paid. Seahawks got them a ring. You think they smell blood in the water? Or is the Giants about to get their turn?
Well, who's the GM? So they want to prove something to old boy, or not that prove because they won the Super Bowl, but they want to come and floss their jewelry right at Joe Shane. So it's not about Harbaugh because the head coach is different. So but they want to stick it to the Giants organization as a whole. So and they have talent over there, man. I mean,
yeah,
you can say what you want about Sam Darnold. I mean, what's Ibuka at the wire? I mean, they have players over there. You can't sleep on them. So, and they are the Super Bowl champions. They know what it takes and how to work to win a championship. So, and
they feel like a team that's going that may have a Super Bowl hangover though. I ain't gonna front. They feel like
every team has that, after
but I could see Seattle being like a 9 or 10 win team next year. Like I could see them taking that type of step. Yeah, I can. I don't because they won what 13 last year.
13 and what is it? No,
they not winning 13 next year. No, they're not.
14-3.
Yeah, 14. Hell no. Yeah, they're gonna be about 9-10 wins. They're gonna still be a good team, but I see them taking a significant step back. So this game might not be as challenging as it seems right now, but they are number 2 respectfully because they just won a damn Super Bowl. I don't know how they ain't number 1.
They're 14-3.
I don't know how they ain't number 1. Yeah, I knew they won a bunch of games. Beat up on some bad teams. Played
9
Giants.
wins though. Let me look at this.
9 or 10 wins. They're gonna have a first place schedule, first of all, because it was first place in their division.
I get all
and they lost some pieces, lost the Super Bowl MVP, and the Rams are there. 49 is going to be healthy. And I just think that, team, they not going to sleep on nobody this year. Team's going to be ready for them. So,
of course they are.
I think, unpopular opinion, Seahawks right now, I'm saying it before we even get to the draft, they taking a step back next year. I'm thinking 9 to 10 wins.
Okay. We'll see.
But to be determined. All right, number 1 team, we're going to wrap this up. The Rams.
Yeah, we thought so. We knew.
The Rams. Yeah. They got McDuffie. They may get AJ Brown. The Rams are big game hunting. They are trying to get one more for the Gipper. Being your boy, what's his name? What's the quarterback's name? Goddamn, yeah. Well, I was. You said, I was gonna say Sam Bradford. Remember him? I was gonna say Bradford.
He's the reason why they put it in the
right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a Bradford, bro.
Coming and getting $50 million right off the loop.
They were getting paid by the Rams, bro. Bradford, Goff, Stafford. Rams love paying people. Them West Coast teams, bro. I need to go out west. West Coast.
What you think, player?
West Coast teams. West Coast teams be paying, bro. The Raiders be paying buku money. The Rams be paying buku money to people. The 49ers be paying buku money to people. Yeah. But they all be good teams, though. So, except the Raiders.
California is expensive as hell, too. So,
that's true. That's true. So
better have that money.
It's like, we got to make sure you all right up here. We'll give you an extra $1 million, just for taxes. But yeah. All right, so that's that. Let's get into the New York Jets.
New York Jets.
All right, Jets. The big news. Jets trading Justin Fields. Justin Fields going to the Chiefs. I just think this one here, bro, is the Chiefs seeing if they can get a quick flip here, and turn Justin Fields into something. And if they turn Justin Fields into something and you give up a sixth and say Justin Fields comes out, plays a couple games this year, looks halfway decent, you turn around and you trade him because Mahomes ain't going nowhere, and they're going to turn around and trade Justin Fields for like a third rounder, and he going to go somewhere and start and get paid. I could see that path happening. I can also see a path where he plays 1 year in Kansas City and we don't hear from him no more again because he's just cooked. And if Andy Reid can't do nothing with you, can't nobody do nothing with you at the quarterback position. So, from the Jets standpoint, it was good to get anything for Justin Fields. You was about to release him. It's a win. He wasn't going to do shit for you. He played awful. You get a 6. I mean, hell, shit. You might be able to. At worst, you could turn a 6th-round pick into a kicker. So 6th-round picks ain't meaningless. You could turn a 6th-round pick into a kicker, a punter, hell, sometimes a quarterback, depending. As in this situation we see, just might not be a good one. But you can get a good picker, kicker, a punter, or special teams person or somebody like that in the 6th round. So it's not for nothing. Now the pick is in 2027, so it won't be this year. So you will kind of want the Chiefs pick this year because it's higher. They're probably going to be better in 2027, so the pick's going to be lower for the Jets. I don't know. I like the team the Jets are putting together. You got Geno Smith in there now. I guess he could drive the car. Probably driving it drunk, but I guess he could get you to the crib. I don't know. But Coach, what's your thoughts on the Justin Fields move? And is it a good one for the Jets?
Kansas City, are they still Jets? And here's the reason why I say this. All right. Number one, Justin Fields was on a 1-year contract. Okay. Number two, you're eating 70% of his contract. So Kansas City's only paying $3 million while you're paying $7 million, and you're only getting a 6th-round draft pick. I mean, for me, you know what? In that situation, if you came away with a 5th-round draft pick, I might have said, okay, it's a little bit better. Definitely a 4th. Now, for Kansas City, you're taking a flyer. Mahomes is still out, so you have Justin Fields come in. You can use his legs. You have Kenneth Walker, who just came in. So, you do have some players over there. He's going to be playing in a better system overall. So, and like you said, if Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy can't get you going, then, you probably you're definitely going to be a backup at best in the NFL, if not completely out and probably playing in the UFL. So to me, Kansas City fleeced the Jets. I'm saying it right. They fleeced them. The Jets were so desperate, just like you said, you're going to cut him. And to the Jets, it's like, we saved $3 million because we're going to eat 10. Okay, but you're only getting a 6th-round draft pick, and you're eating. Yeah. Now look, if I don't know. I mean, to me, Kansas City should have been eating more. If you said you split the difference, then I'm like, all right, cool.
I don't think the money really mattered to the Jets, though. They spent a bunch of money.
No, I get it,
and it's like, it's one of those things like an NBA trade where you.
It's not even a salary dump.
See what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's not even a salary dump. You're just getting rid of the kids because, okay, you're saying, well, at least I got a draft pick for him. And I'm saving $3 million. Okay. If that's your logic, to me, it's like, yo, you let Kansas City get over on you. You did. I'm sorry. You did.
You saying you would have just released them and just took the loss, just not got nothing from them? You don't think draft capital?
I'm not talking. I'm not saying. I think you could have gotten I think they got a 5th-round draft pick. All right, fine. And you're eating 70%. Now, if you were saying we'll pay $5 million, you pay $5 million, give us the 6th round, then I'm like, all right, cool. That's where I'm looking at. That's where I'm coming from. I'm saying you're eating 70%. That's $7 million. For Kansas City, they're paying that $10 million is really back.
Miami eating 99, bro. These teams don't care.
I get all that. I get it. What did Miami get for him, for Tua? Oh no, they cut him. That's right.
They cut him. Yeah, they ain't getting nothing for him. They just eating the money.
I mean,
so that's pretty much. You know what I'm saying? I guess that's what the Jets were thinking. Shit, let's get something. I'm just going to eat the money.
I don't know. I just because you're sending him to, like you said, at least Andy, and they still have Mahomes coming back, so it's like they win-win.
Now, I would have tried to send him to the NFC, to be honest with you. I don't never want to send a player that can come back to kind of haunt me, which I highly doubt Justin Fields is going to do that. But then again, that's more of your direct competition, Kansas City and the AFC. I always want to try to get a deal with the team in the other conference,
but if they
first.
Well, we don't know if they did because I'm assuming they tried. If you're the GM, possibly. You're reaching out to every team to see, are you open to
that for him? That GM's been trading his ass. He's made I think they said 12 or 13 trades since he's got on the job.
So I mean, that tells me
he calling everybody.
Yeah. So I mean,
hey, who you want?
What that's telling me is nobody wanted him. So I'm going to look at it that way first. Kansas City's the only one that probably said, yeah, we'll take a flyer on him.
24 points at the half. Not surprising. Their ass.
But hey, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Their ass cheeks. I'm gonna touch on I'm gonna get into possible draft targets for the Jets. They are looking to possibly go the quarterback route this year. But I'm not gonna get into it now because we're gonna keep the show moving. But y'all be on the lookout for that coming up on Unpopular Opinion Sports. All right. Let's get into let's talk a little bit about the Yankees real quick. We'll get into baseball real quick here. Out of hour in. So we'll get into baseball, do basketball, then culture.
New York Yankees.
All right, man. Gerrit Cole, back in action for the first time since Tommy John surgery. Different look. Gerrit Cole there. Yeah. Filling out the beard. But Cole allowed 2 singles and a scoreless inning against the Red Sox Wednesday afternoon. His first time pitching since having Tommy John surgery. Cole was scheduled for 1 inning and threw only 10 pitches. Just getting out the kinks there. It says 6 of Cole's 10 pitches were fastballs, and he topped out at 98 miles an hour. So not bad. Threw a handful of sliders, curveballs. Had to cover first base, so you want to see him, be able to run. And Gerrit Cole. There's a clip for you. You need that. But yeah, so Gerrit Cole, man, I'm telling you, if the Yankees get Cole back, if they get him back healthy and are able to solidify this pitching rotation, I like their chances. I do. I like their chances. It's just with the Yankees in the playoffs, it's about clutch. I don't feel like they got that guy like how they had the Jeters, they had the Bernie Wooders, they had that guy that would just come up with those clutch hits. You want it to be somebody like a Jazz Chisholm or somebody like that, but this hasn't been that person. Because it's never really the Yankees power hitters. They always swing or miss. It's how they always have been. You know what I'm saying? But you don't have those Jeters, those Bernie Williams, those Paul O'Neill types. They had remember old Jim Lirritz. They had a bunch of dudes, bro. Jorge Posadas. They had a bunch of dudes that would come through with clutch hitting, so they got to be able to get this pitching rotation solidified first, and you just gotta get clutch hitting out of your hitters. You paying them, they need to bring you to the promised land and get you over the hump. They did make the World Series, but you ain't competing with the Dodgers right now. They got a super team, to be honest with you. So you got to get a group of guys. You can't. And to be honest with you, like I said, it needs to come from their farm system, because you got Jason Dominguez, you got Ben Rice. You know what I'm saying? Now they got this Carlos LaGrange kid they talking about now, this pitcher. So these are some of the people, some of the guys that I'm going to be looking at this year for this New York Yankees team to step up to the plate and fill out the roster with your big time hitters, with your Bellingers, your Judges, Stanton, whenever he's on out there. So you gotta fill out the gaps in your so you have a consistent rotation. Contact, power, contact, power. Like that's how they used to tear teams up like that. It wasn't no holes in the lineup. Now you got all these swing and miss dudes. So when you don't have no dominant pitching, guys can't be up there swinging and missing. That's what I'm saying. Because you're not playing complementary baseball like how we talk about football. Offense, defense, just like basketball too. All the same. When you got good pitching, okay, if guys are up there swinging and missing, you not on that game, you can still stay in the game with your pitching. But what happens to the Yankees is if their pitching ain't on and then their hitting is just the way it is, swing and miss, you get smacked in a lot of games, especially in the playoffs. But what you thinking about Cole? How are you feeling as they just wrapped up the World Baseball Classic. Spring training is in action. We're gonna be getting the baseball games here pretty soon. Starting next month, I believe, or the end of this month. But what you thinking?
To be honest with you, I'm a little bit more optimistic after really evaluating everything from last year. Number one, the Yankees were tied with Toronto for the best record in the AL, and you didn't have your top three starting pitchers, which goes to your argument. You need your pitching, and the Yankees faced Toronto. They went toe to toe with them, and they did lose. I believe it was in 7 games, right? Yeah,
they got holes in both. Kerm.
Yes.
They got holes in the pitching and in the rotation, and they can't fill out either. Because I was specifically I'm to answer this question. I was specifically talking about the hitting as far as the lineup, where they need those extra players to fill in behind Judge and Stanton, but also in the pitching rotation, particularly in the bullpen where they haven't been as good in recent years. But go ahead, Coach.
Now, they went and lost in 7 games to Toronto. And Toronto, correct me if I'm wrong, they went toe-to-toe with the mighty Dodgers. Yeah, they lost, but they lost in how many games? 7 games.
Yeah.
So, if the Yankees went toe-to-toe with Toronto, they didn't have their top 3 pitchers, but they were still a very competitive and effective team overall. I'm saying overall. There are holes in their lineup, yes. But you pretty much say that about every team in any pro sport.
That's true.
We could see everybody saying the mighty Dodgers, but the Dodgers have holes too. They're good. They're a very good club. Yes, they are. They won back-to-back World Series, so I have to respect that, and I do. But it's also telling me they're not invincible. They can be beat too. So, and if the Yankees did this without their best starting pitching, then my expectation is now even rising even more, as long as we get Cole back. He works his way back to, by the end of the year, the Yankees are pretty much in the same position they were last year. And Cole, by the end of the year, is starting to get back into form. The other pitchers come in and they fill in and they fit in properly. Then my expectation, I'm saying the Yankees should end up being the number 1 seed in the AL. Yeah. I mean, that's my logic. That's the logic. So I'm taking more of a positive approach, as opposed, because y'all know me. I've always been very hard and very pessimistic with the Yankees. And when I stopped and I thought about it and I listened to some other analysts, true baseball analysts, I was just like, oh, you know what? Yeah. Yankees are a lot better than I'm giving them credit for. My expectations last year were just, it's World Series or bust, period, case closed. But you know what? Injury is a factor, and they made it that far without the. I keep saying the same thing. They're 3 top starting pitchers. That's a big thing. That's a big thing. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. So, but we got Mets in the building. Mets, do you have anything for the Mets? Or maybe we should wait till next week when they actually start playing baseball. Because I didn't know it was next week. He says the middle of next week they start. So we're gonna have some games to really break this thing down. I can't wait. I am a baseball fan, but all right, let me send you the.
Oh yeah, the regular season starts the 25th, which is.
Yeah, see, I always thought it started in like April, middle, the first or second week in April, but I guess they starting all these seasons early now. Football starting early, basketball be starting in October now. So yeah,
they're on the road next week because they actually take on the Giants in California, then they take on the Mariners, and then they come home. They come home April 4th to take on the Marlins.
Links in there for you, Mets. If you want to come up and give your thoughts on the Mets and what they got going on as we lead up to baseball, to spring training. But yeah, I'm kind of optimistic with the Yankees too. Just a little, I guess, cautiously optimistic, I would say, just because I think I'm waiting for this to turn around for the Yankees to where, okay, now you're not playing that big fish game like the Dodgers are, the Mets are, you know what I'm saying? Now, can you really be one of those teams that kind of build it straight up? You know what I'm saying? You made a couple moves, Cole. They talking about the $300 million contracts. Those ain't looking like shit now what the Dodgers is doing. So I'm not even sweating that. But I want to see what they do as far as some of these younger players coming in and carving out a role on this team to help them win a championship. All right, we got Mets in the building, so we'll bring Mets in here. All right, what's going on, Mets?
Not much, guys. Salute.
What's good with you, man? What you got for us?
From what I'm seeing from the Mets, the big issue boils down to which guys will be the corner infielders. Throughout spring training, we have seen Brett Baty reemerge as the quality player he was last year. By contrast, Vientos is falling off the cliff, and he could end up becoming lower tier trade bait. When you consider that in 2024, the situation between the two was the converse. Vientos had emerged as a quality player, and Baty was stuck as a minor league bait. By contrast with the rotation, I am not a fan of sending Christian Scott down the minors to start the year. I mean, Jonah Tong going down the minors, I can live with. He has very little pitch command, and most of his pitches last year that got him in trouble was that high four-seam fastball.
But he was the big-time prospect for you guys. I remember.
No, that was actually Nolan McLean.
Jonah McLean and Tong, too. He was there because we covered it on Heart of the City. I remember that.
And along with Dylan Sproat, but what happened to him? We shipped him out.
But you got Tong, right?
Yeah, but again...
Is he not good? What happened to him?
The problem is lack of command on the pitch. He's always kind of a one-pitch pony, and it's a high four-seamer, which always got him in trouble. Every time he threw that pitch, bam, over the fence. Or a hitter would get caught.
So he don't got no...
I mean, he has
command of his location?
Yes.
Or is it like, okay, so it's not a velocity issue or nothing like that?
It's more like location and how he's mostly over-reliant on the fastball. Kind of like how before or the Yankees shipped him out to the Tigers, people moaned, complained, and bitched about Tommy Kahnle's over-reliance on a changeup.
Yeah, some pitchers do over-rely on certain pitches, but if you got that pitch working, like, because I know Rivera used to do it, just to make an example, that comes to my mind immediately. Rivera used to do it with that cutter. He had that fastball cutter. And when he threw that cutter, you knew that cutter was coming. You couldn't stop it. That's the thing. When you do have that now, if your fastball ain't like that, that's why I asked you about his velocity. If you don't got the velocity on that fastball, then yeah, that shit ain't worth nothing.
Velocity's not the issue. The velocity's not the issue with Jonathan. It's control.
So does he have a lot of walks to strikeouts?
It's mostly home runs and hits as opposed to walks and strikeouts.
So they making contact. So yeah, definitely could be a control issue if he can't hit the corners. With some of those pitches, you don't want it right down the middle. You know what I'm saying?
That was the problem with most of his pitches. It kept going over the middle.
Yeah, you don't want it right down the middle. You gotta hit that upper corner, you know what I'm saying, where they kind of jam them up like, can't get the back.
But starting Christian Scott in the minors, I mean, I get it. You want him to come back slowly from having gone under the knife a couple of seasons ago. But having said that, in a way, Mendoza's responsible for shaking his confidence. Is half the time when Scott was in a game where he did get a lead, what happened? He put in the wrong bullpen arm and screwed the pooch.
How you feeling about the Mets bullpen this year?
It is iffy. Personally, I would put the barrel of the gun at Mendoza to make smart bullpen decisions. No more reckless manic depression-based gambles with putting in pitchers in their worst analytical situations. Because that's what got the Mets into trouble all throughout from late April all the way to the end of last season.
Well, I think the Mets
this year he's under the gun.
So real quick, since we got Coach up here, the Phillies, how do you think the Mets are going to fare in this division with the Phillies, with the Braves? And I don't think you worried about the Miami Marlins. Maybe you are, I don't know, but I know the Braves and Phillies for sure.
The question boils down to, is the Phillies title window shutting? I personally think there's a curse on the NL East division title. It's been plaguing it since 2022. Anytime the team wins,
that ain't a long time. 2022 ain't.
Just hear me out. The last 4 years, whether it's Atlanta, Philadelphia, or whoever's won that title in that division, they get the bye to go into the divisional round. What happens? They get knocked out in 4 games. As much as I want the Mets to win the division crown this year, I don't want that to happen. If that comes with them losing in 4 and as a consequence, I don't want it. I'm hoping they're the ones to break the curse.
Yeah, well, look, Mets got to win it one day. You know what I'm saying? They got it. They. It's been a long time.
It's been since 2015 since we got back to the World Series.
To the World Series. I'm talking about winning the World Series.
Okay, 86. I wasn't even born yet. I think I was still my mom. I was about 2 months away from being in my mother's womb by that point.
So that is a while for a team not to have won. Not in eternity. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the Cubs drought or the Red Sox drought. But that is
the Guardians drought.
That is they got a little drought too. I don't like that Guardians shit either, man. But anyway,
I want them to go back to the Indians. I want them to revive Chief Wahoo. And I don't care what a bunch of political leftist activists say about how that mascot is offensive.
Yeah. That's a whole nother deal that I can get into, but now it's not the time. Unfortunately, man. Nah, you dead on though. Like I can really get into that subject, but I'm not gonna do that here tonight. That's not what we're here for. But yeah, I'm with you. I do want them to go back to the Indians. But we're gonna get into the basketball. I don't know if Leaf is still out there. If you want to come on, Leaf, and talk a little
He's still
Brooklyn
in here.
Nets. I'm gonna shoot you the link right now, and we'll bring Leaf in for the Nets as we're gonna get into a little Nets news, a little Knicks news, talk a little hoops here. But yeah, man. Mets. Thought I had your number. I put you in a group chat. Maybe you
did. You did.
All right. I asked everybody to put a 1, so I know you got the message. Because
sorry.
that's where I'm gonna be sending. I'm gonna be sending you guys stuff to use for your shows, like
Just
important
sent it
stuff.
now.
So, all right, cool. So I got you there. I'll be sending you some stuff to help you guys out. You know, graphics, music, things you guys can use to improve your shows. I'm gonna include you in that. You've been working hard for us, and I greatly appreciate you. So, but we're gonna get Leaf Diggy in here. Where's Leaf at? Let me see. And we're gonna get into the Brooklyn Nets and the
New York Knicks.
And the Knicks. Damn. Charles Barkley called them the Dicks.
Easy for him to say. He hasn't had one since '83.
Yeah, I know. He can't talk, but this shit was funny though. I had it for on the money out of pocket. But yeah, man, we're gonna holler at you, Mets. We're gonna get into basketball. We're gonna keep the show rolling. I appreciate you tapping in. Get back with me though, like I said, next week on next week's show, so we can get into the first couple games, the start of the season, I should say.
Your thing. Peace.
All right, man. Peace out, man. Appreciate you.
Just a little something I got last month. Coach has seen it.
What is that?
It's another cookbook. One Piece this time.
What you cooking in though?
Like One Piece is one of the dopest animes ever made, bro.
Yeah. But
so far, I managed to cook a small platter of sandwiches and a little dippable vegetable dish.
Okay. All right. Should start you a cooking show. I think it'll be interesting. I'll watch it for sure.
Later.
All right, my man. All right. Leaf, what's good, man? Leaf, what's good, man? We're gonna get into the basketball here. How you feeling, bro?
I'm feeling. Coach, we was on about 24 hours ago, just this time, and I'll be honest with you, I was completely wrong. To have the feeling that I had. I mean, I guess just based off the history that was going on, man. But damn, what a difference 24 hours makes, right, man? Oh, Jesus. Yeah, I guess I suppose we're gonna talk about that deal a whole lot more. But I mean, yeah, definitely, man. What a difference 24 hours makes, man. For real. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk about this deal. This 121-92 thrashing that the Brooklyn Nets suffered tonight. I've witnessed a lot from the Nets this year. A lot of just garbage play. And what's the prize at the end of it, though? That's what I'm here to talk to you about, Leaf. Because I'm getting into my NBA scouting. I'm doing my NFL scouting. I'm gonna be a scout soon. So Dead ass. So what's the prize though here for Brook? Because this I can't look at this shit no more, bro. This ain't bad for me, bro. You just get your ass.
Unfortunately,
ways, bro.
I will say the prize supposedly is one of the top 4 prospects of this draft, be it that of AJ DeBonsa, be it that of Cam Boozer, be it that of Darren Peterson or Caleb Wilson. The way my mind works, and I think I'm pretty straight. And I was kind of raised by a conspiracy theorist. You know what I'm saying? So like I have to get into my bag a lot about why things are gonna go bad and why things are gonna get worse.
A conspiracy theory, bro. So
which is great for me because I get to what I want us to do is to lose out all the way to the bottom of the league so I can prove to everybody in our fan base that the NBA is in control of this and they're not giving us a damn thing. That's what I want to prove. I want to prove to everybody. I want to get the screen here. I want to prove to everybody that's watching right now that that sits in the black and white and the borough in the city that are 100% on the Brooklyn Nets. That I want to get to the bottom of the league by the end of the season, so I can prove to everybody that believe that we're going to get something that we're not going to get nothing. We're not. We're not going to get what we want. We're not going to get what we're looking for. We're not going to get that prize that's just going to just flip the switch and turn the franchise around. It's not how it works. It's not how it works. The reason being is because I look at other teams and I have to see how their process back to prominence or back to the playoffs works. The Pistons didn't just get Cade Cunningham and then boom, we off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
The San Antonio Spurs didn't just get Wemby and boom, just like that, we off to the races. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a while, and we're going to be in the shitter for quite some time. I'm letting y'all know that. Now, Pat, I understand that Pat was in the bag. He was looking at some of our players. He was telling us to build off that. The thing is, you have to build off of something. You can build off of them, but you can't build off of them the way that you want to, especially with these top 4 prospects coming out, because in the event that we do get one of these prospects, which I know that we won't, we have to start maneuvering around them. You have to maneuver around a Cam Boozer. You have to maneuver around a Darren Peterson. You have to build around an AJ DeBonsa. The NBA is not giving us that. Notice that it's 10 teams. 1/3 of the league. 1/3 of the league is tanking right now.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. That's the problem.
1/3 of the league is tanking right now. Chicago just said, "Yo, listen, hey, we started the season 7-0, but
Chicago, hey. Chicago been on that. Chicago was on my top 5, bro. Top 5 tanking teams."
And as they should be. You know why? Because the NBA, now that the NBA just moved back to NBC, here go the Chicago Bulls with this tank job. like y'all think I'm silly? Y'all think I'm crazy? That's what everybody think I'm crazy. They think I don't know what's going on. Why does the NBA think after 20-something years of watching them that they think they can fool me? You cannot fool me. But I know what you're doing.
But all right, check it out, Leaf. If the Nets get a top 4 pick, say they get a top 4 pick, and I think they will. I think the NBA they ain't gonna be number 1, but they'll throw them a bone. They'll be in the top 4 or 5. Who do you think they should draft? That's what I'm here to talk about. Which one of the prospects do you like? Because in recent years we've had these discussions, and you've kind of identified a player offhand. And I got a guy, but I want to see who you think.
I like all four of the prospects. I don't think you could go wrong with either one of them.
Agreed.
It's just determined about who's easier to build around. I mean, Caleb Wilson and Cam Boozer is the two guys that I'm eyeing. The reason being is because I think Caleb Wilson is the do-it-all guy. I think he has a lot of winning intangibles. He's the best two-way player in this draft in terms of his effort and his defense. And Lord knows we need a lot of that. We need a lot of effort. We need a lot of defense. We need a lot of second effort, third effort, fourth, fifth, sixth. I mean, we need a lot of non-quit guys on this team. You know what I'm saying? And not guys that's just scrambling around looking for contracts, and then they offer two ways, and then we just put them in, and then we tank the rest of the season. I don't need that. So we definitely need for sure guys on our team. Cam Boozer, I'm okay with him just because of his positioning, because of his size. I want to see if he could do that bully shit in the league that he was doing in Duke. Personally, I think Duke has produced some of the top talents of the last 10 to 15 years in the draft. The only problem is,
I agree.
When it comes to Duke, I immediately think of what happened to Grant Hill, and I just blame it on the fact that they went to Duke. So,
you can't do that.
Listen, my mind works like that, man. Like I'm like, if something happens to you, and it ain't supposed, and if something happens to you, I'm gonna blame it on the fact that you went to Duke.
But, bro, listen. When the Nets get a Duke player, we don't want that to happen. So I'm with you. I'm pulling for Cam Boozer or Caleb Wilson, but I'm a fucking North Carolina Tar Heel fan, my G. If you don't get Caleb Wilson up on the fucking Nets right now, and I'm about to do a video, be on the lookout for that shit, bro. That dude can play ball, bro. And he plays, and I know you're gonna like this. He plays with physicality. He plays with power. He plays with strength. When he goes up, he goes up. He absorbs that body contact, and he's able to finish at the rim, bro. And that's what you need. Because when I watch these Nets games, miss layup, miss dunk, block. They so weak. They weak. There's a bunch of little weak dudes out there.
I agree. I agree with you. And listen, Caleb Wilson is definitely top priority on my list. If we just so happen to get the top 4 pick, I'm negative Nancy. I don't think that we're going to. I think we're probably going to end up getting 6 at the highest, even if we do finish at the bottom of the league, because the NBA, this is what the NBA has, these new tanking rules that they mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and they think I'm stupid and I didn't see it. The reason why they mentioned these rules is because these 4 players that's coming in, because of the NIL deals, they have representation. And that representation got on the phone and called the NBA and said, my client can't play here. My client can't play there. My client can't play here. Here was this right here. Because they looking at the front office and they looking at the way that things are being done to the KDs, the Kyries, and the Cam Thomases and the James Hardens, and they don't want to be a part of that. And I don't blame them. So the reality is that we need to have a formula where we can build without the front office getting in the way. The thing is, the worst came to worst, man, when we got these picks, because now the front office is in full control. It's almost like they're coaching the team. You know what I'm saying? So when Kenny Atkinson here, when Kenny Atkinson was here and we didn't have nothing, we just put guys out there and told them, hey, we got to make this work because we tanking for nothing. And then when we got D'Lo, it winded up becoming a 42-win season. What happens the next year? KD, Kyrie, they want to come here because we got the cap space to pay them. And we jumped like rabbits, right? Like just like that, because anybody that want to come here and get paid, hey, we here. You can come here. Come on down. Don't like it here? All right, well, at least we paid you.
But Appreciate you. Spider Burns, Captain Judge, new sub. Appreciate you. Preach the sports knowledge. That's what we are here to do. Appreciate you subbing and liking, man. Thank you very much for that, man. Appreciate your support. All right, let's get to the Knicks because we got to keep it rolling.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But we're gonna take a different angle with the Knicks here today.
Let me hang around for this one, man.
Because I want to talk about this expansion thing. And the NBA is bringing in what? Vegas and Seattle.
Yep.
Vegas and Seattle. So what is this gonna mean for the Knicks? I'm gonna get into the article here real quick and read just a little bit. There have been murmurs over a few years that the NBA teams move from 30 to 32 teams. Shams reported it'll be Vegas and Seattle would target the 2028-2029 season for their inaugural campaign. The NBA will hold a vote at the Board of Governors meeting March 24th, 25th to explore adding expansion teams. There's more momentum for stakeholders to approve. So they're trying to get this done. Here are the expansion rules. Existing teams are allowed to protect 8 players. Players eligible to be protected are players who are not on expiring contracts and restricted free agents. Teams must expose at least one player, and teams may not lose more than one player. I believe it says there, but yeah. And any expansion draft. So that's what we're looking at here. It says, with that being said, what could this mean for the Knicks? The only player signed through 2028-2029 season is, for better or worse, Mikal Bridges.
Why did they put that in there? Why to say for better or worse? Who did this?
Why? You know why? This is Yahoo Sports. This ain't NYG.
Yahoo's out of pocket for this. It's in bold letters. It's in bold letters. I see it clear as day.
They put it there, bro.
Oh man.
So, Knicks team payroll. All seriousness, though. The Knicks payroll here, you got you see it right here. Karl Anthony Towns, his deal expiring after the 27-28 season. OG Anunoby, Jalen Brunson, they have player options, and Bridges is the only one signed to 29 and 2030. With that $133 million guaranteed deal. Now it comes down to who do you protect, who do you expose? Because remember the rules here. You must expose at least one player. You may not lose more than one player, and you're allowed to protect 8 players. So you see what they got going on here. It says if you go down the roster right now, 3 guys you want to be a Knick for as long as possible had to be Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and Diawara. All 3 of those guys are going to be free agents this upcoming summer. New York, which has become one of the most cap-aware and salary-savvy front office in the league, has surely been planning on this and has done whatever it can to give itself the best shot at retaining all 3. If they can manage to do so, the question becomes, how long will they be signed for? If they're all signed for more than 3 years, they should all round out the last 3 to be protected. But if for one reason or another they aren't a Knick by then, the Knicks are kind of out of players they need to keep. Sure, one of their picks in the late first round or second round could surprise us, as Diawara has. Tyler Kolek who Porty and Didac.
Porty.
Y'all players got some fucking crazy ass names.
Didac. Didac is French.
Man, yeah, man, whatever.
Porty is from Germany.
Them players gonna be starting on the Knicks in a couple of years. You watch.
That's what it's looking like. What they saying right here. All three will be trades between now and then. Whatever players the Knicks may bring in, make the list. So what do you think about, first of all, about this expansion, and what do you think about the Knicks and who they should be protecting and who they could potentially lose in an expansion draft? It's gonna be a lot of teams, man. That's gonna have to make some tough decisions. You can only protect 8 players.
Well,
what you think, Coach? Let me get Coach's opinion on this. Coach is the Knicks fan.
As far as who should be protected, of course, I'm going to say Mitchell Robinson, of course, and I'm going to say Diawara. I love Diawara's game and what he's bringing to the table. No one in Knicks land expected this from this kid, and the kid, sometimes gives you a little bit of feel of when what's his name was with Toronto, Pascal Siakam. When Pascal was first coming out, you kind of got. This is what Diawara gives you, because he's 6'9", 6'10", long, can shoot the three, he can play defense, he can facilitate, and he can switch up, and he can guard pretty much any position. So he's of value, and you got him as a second rounder. That's the thing that most people were saying. Oh, you got him as a late second rounder. I think he was the last pick in the second round this past year. So, and he's a key contributor. So, Deuce McBride, I love Deuce. So I get it, I understand. But out of the three, if you were to make a decision, I could see you saying, all right, we can let Deuce go and leave him unprotected. Am I saying that's what I want? No, I want to see all three protected if at all possible, because they will be key to what you're doing in the future. Now, Didac, he was a first-round draft pick, but they don't use him. So, but when he goes down, and Kolek, both of them, when they go down to the G League, they shine. So there is something there. Didac is also, when we drafted him, he was 19. I think this is his second or third year. So he's still young. So, that's where it is. Porty, I was expecting more because he's a center.
Porty. Okay.
Yeah, Porty. I was expecting more from him. He has shown things in the summer league, but it hasn't transferred to the regular season. So, they end up putting him as like the third center on the roster. So unless he can develop, he's big, he's mobile, he can switch. He's kind of like Mitchell, but he's not as athletic as Mitchell Robinson. So, but if you leave him available, Didac, I'm fine with that. So,
yeah, man. I do think that that the Knicks are gonna have some interesting decisions to make, especially if they don't win nothing this year, because you thinking about maybe Karl Anthony Towns might not be there. Maybe you shipping some of these players out to get Giannis. Mikal Bridges is just, that trade is just looking worse by the day for the Knicks. They gotta want to get him out of there.
I'm going to say this, okay? It's more, and shout out to Lee. He said it at the beginning of the season. I have questions more so about Mike Brown and his rotations, because there is talent here. There's too much talent for this team late in the season trying to figure out what their roles are. when you have Carl Anthony Town, okay, now Carl Anthony is saying he understands what he's supposed to do and he's filling into his role. Okay, cool. But that should have been perfectly explained at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season. Now, did Carl Anthony buy in? That's a different story. I don't know. But most recently, like I believe last month, and it was a big thing. You know, he's trying to figure out what his role is, and a lot of the players were. So, well, and Mikal, yeah, he's going through a slump. Look, Jose Alvarado's going through a slump. I think he's missed like 15 threes in a row. So, you know, now as far as your comment about, you know, it's not looking good as, you know, I mean, for 5 first-round draft picks and what it came about, what the expectation, yes, you're right about that. But he's still been very productive, and here's one of the biggest things: he's played every game. That goes for something. I go back to AC Green. Think about that with the Lakers. AC Green was the Iron Man. You know what I'm talking about, NYG. So you know, I respect players that are able to play each and every game. Do I want some more production? Yes, but you know, so. I'll leave it there. That's about it.
All right, so Knicks versus Nets, Friday night. Yeah. What do you make of this game?
It's a snoozer, man. I can't. It's a snoozer. I don't expect. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not even expecting a lot of the key Knicks players to play.
I'm not expecting a lot of the Nets players to play.
What Nets players?
Right.
What Nets players?
The Knicks just played without Brunson, so you know you're gonna let a lot of the young kids play. Kolick, more Diawara, those guys. Show in whatever they just got him for saying they don't play him at all.
Bro, I don't think the current Nets roster could beat 10 G League teams.
Come on, you can beat Washington. You can at least beat Washington.
No, we can't. No,
Washington. Come on, leave.
No.
Come on, leave.
No, Washington is trying. We're not beating Washington.
Hold up.
Nets ain't beating
There's
Washington.
a game. Hold on, wait a minute. Hand to God. Hand to God. The last game that I covered on my page and on the great ABSN page, we were playing the G League Pacers. We got beat by Peter and Potter. We got beat by Peter. I repeat, it is on my page. Y'all could go to that video. We blew a 20-point lead against Peter and Potter. People don't even know who Peter and Potter is. Micah Potter had 19 and 12 off the bench. We cannot beat nobody. We don't want to beat nobody. It's over, coach.
I just watched I just called the game where Quentin Grimes literally beat the Nets by himself.
Yes.
Of course, with the Sixers.
Yes.
By himself.
And he
incredible.
And after that game, you got it in your head. You was like, man, I don't know if I could call me another one of these. Like,
them niggas is
that's
garbage,
exactly what happened.
I said that was
they are awful, bro. They are atrocious. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to watch.
At the bottom
it's a hard watch.
Half of the league, yes. I'm with everyone now because I hate it. I hate the tank. See, that's the thing, though. I don't want to accept it because I'm a competitor. I hate tanking. It's disrespectful to the game you're playing. You know, I was raised to respect the game you play. Period. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that hurts my heart. I'm gonna be honest. That's why, you know, I don't buy into tanking. I understand teams do it. I get it. I understand what they do to tactics. I can't accept it personally because of the competitor that I am. It's very simple. Mm-hmm. You know, look, you beat me. What I always say, you beat me. I'm gonna go look at the film and I'm gonna come back and try to figure out how to beat you the next time.
Most deaf.
To sit here to purposefully and to have a culture like that, and I'm seeing it's not just in basketball, it's in all sports, it's baseball, football. And it's like, yo, this is sad. And what are we teaching the younger generation?
Right.
I mean, it's let me not go on my tangent. I'm sorry. Let's see.
You are right. It is bad. And hey, look, people wait for the leagues to do stuff about these things, but it's really the people. If people tap out and say, look, y'all clean this shit up, or we not watching, we not support, we not coming to the stadiums, that's real easy for somebody to do. You're not obligated to go pay fucking $100 goddamn dollars for tickets to go watch these games. You can fucking stay home. Like, that's not hard to do.
Exactly.
Like,
bro.
just tap out.
Listen,
It ain't even telling you not to watch it on TV. Just don't go to the fucking games. Let them stadiums sit empty.
they'll do that. But what they'll do is, all right, we'll just lower the prices, bro. Like, yo, you can get in for $2.99 and get a courtside seat, man. Like, yo, listen,
they need to lower the prices, and you know what? Because you are paying thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars for rigged garbage. So if you're gonna rig it and you're gonna fucking do all this dumb shit, tank and do all this dumb shit, yeah, the ticket should be cheap as hell. It should be like going to the circus where you pay like $10 fucking dollars. Yeah, then I'll go watch it. The fuck? Exactly. You're right. Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it should be.
But yeah, let's get into our culture segment.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I got Leaf with that
man.
one, I can tell.
Oh yeah, he did get me with that one. I was not expecting that at all. I was like, what?
But yeah, so today we are gonna get into, in lieu of March Madness, we're gonna get into our top 5 college athletes.
Yeah, I'm a split on y'all, man. I'll see y'all soon.
All right, Leaf. All right. Hope everything good. But yeah, top 5 college athletes. I always got my list. Coach always got his list, of people he watched of his era, people I watched of my era. So, and I put them in order, but it's never really in no particular order. It's just people that, I gravitated to or know about or whatever. So, top 5, because March Madness is here. We talked about St. John's earlier. You know what I'm saying? Go Johnnies. I am a St. John's fan as well. Carolina's my favorite team, but I'll also root for St. John's, and Rutgers and Syracuse as well. But let's get into it, man. Coach, man, how you feeling, man? This way.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
Yeah.
Right? So.
Let's get in. Let's hit the intro, man. Let's get into it, man. It's coach's segment, man. Let's do this, man. We ready to roll? All right, man. We are back. Coach. You want to set it off? You want me to set it off? I don't know who went first last time. I forgot.
I think you did last time.
All right, so yeah, you could set it off this time, man. Let me see your list.
All right. Where did that come from? My list is, this was probably the most difficult list to create in terms of the culture because of all the different sports and the teams within the tri-state New York area. And it was a challenge. It really was a challenge. So, and you know what? Go ahead. Let's go with number 5.
Number 5.
Couldn't separate the two. I had to do a tie, and it's Sue Hicks and Terry DeHare. All right. These two were very dynamic and influential to their respective programs. Sue Hicks for Rutgers. She's the most decorated player in Rutgers basketball history. She was a 3-time All-American, and in 1988, she was the National Player of the Year. Think about that for Rutgers. National Player of the Year. She still owns the career record for points, rebounds, scoring average, rebound average, field goals made and attempts, free throws made and attempts, and block shots. So she was so impactful, and Rutgers women's basketball has had some players, and she is the pinnacle. She is the best. Terry DeHare, for that matter, he sits atop Seton Hall's all-time leaders, scoring with 2,494 points. DeHare's prowess on the court led the Pirates to 3 NCAA tournament appearances, including a memorable Sweet 16 run. Moreover, his senior year was marked by earning the 1993 Big East Player of the Year and consensus second-team All-American. So that's why this was hard for me to choose one over the other. So there you have it, number 5. Coming in at number 4.
Number 4.
Mullins is St. John's all-time leading scorer with 2,444 career points. Mullins gave New York a 4-year period to rival any other, leading St. John's to 4 straight NCAA tournaments. He was a 2-time All-American who also garnered consensus first-team All-American honors as a senior. Mullins is the only player in conference history to be named Big East Player of the Year 3 times, 1983 to 1995. He is also just one of 3 players to win the Haggerty Award 3 times, an honor bestowed upon the best collegiate player in New York City. In his final year at St. John's, he averaged 19.8 points to lead the program to its second Final Four and its first number 1 ranking since 1951. He received the John R. Woolen Award at the conclusion of the 84-85 campaign as the nation's top player. He was also named to the Player of the Year by both the United Press International and the U.S. Basketball Writers Association. So there you have it, coming in at number 4, Chris Mullin, and you see what type of player he was for St. John's and for college basketball. Coming in at number 3.
Number 3.
Sin for Rutgers. I mean, football, basketball, track, baseball, a 12-time letter winner at Rutgers. Robeson was chosen an All-American in 1918 by Walter Camp, who called him the greatest end to ever try the gridiron. His squads were 7-1 in 1915, 17-1-1 in 1917, and the Scarlet Knights outscored opponents by an average of 44-3 in 1915 and 33-2 in 1917. The second highest ranking student in his graduating class, he was the first Rutgers player chosen a first-team All-American, and he was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame in 1995. So Robeson pretty much epitomizes what Rutgers athletics is all about, not just in the classroom, but also on the field with complete domination during his era. Coming at number 2.
Number 2.
Now, Davis played football at Syracuse University from 1959 to 1961 and went on to national fame in each of those 3 seasons, twice winning first-team All-American honors. As a sophomore, Davis led this 1959 Syracuse team to the national championship, capping an 11-0 season with a win in the 1960 Cotton Bowl Classic. Davis was named the most valuable player in that game. Davis became the first black athlete to be awarded the Heisman Trophy, which is the highest individual honor in collegiate football. He also won the Walter Camp Memorial Trophy following his 1961 senior season at Syracuse University. So you see and you can understand why he is at number 2 on this list. Now, coming in at number 1.
Number 1.
Jim Brown, a unanimous All-American honors, playing college football at Syracuse, where he was an all-around player when he played for the Orange football team. The team later retired his jersey number 44. He was also inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 1995. He is also widely considered one of the greatest lacrosse players of all time, and the Premier Lacrosse League MVP award is named in his honor. Brown also excelled in basketball and track and field. Now, as a sophomore at Syracuse, Brown was the leading rusher on the team. As a junior, he rushed for 676 yards, about a 5.2 yards per carry average. In his senior year in 1956, he was a consensus first-team All-American. He finished 5th in the Heisman Trophy voting and set school records for the highest season rushing average, 6.2, and most rushing touchdowns in a single game, 6. He ran for 986 yards, 3rd most in the country, despite Syracuse only playing 8 games, and scored 14 touchdowns. In 8 games, 14 touchdowns. In their regular season finale, a 61-7 rout over Colgate, he rushed for 197 yards and scored those 6 touchdowns. He also kicked 7 extra points for a then NCAA record 43 points in that game. Then in the Cotton Bowl, he rushed for 132 yards, scored 3 touchdowns, kicked 3 extra points, and blocked an extra point after Syracuse's 3rd touchdown was the difference. But a blocked extra point after Syracuse's third touchdown was the difference as TCU won that game. In addition to his football accomplishments, he excelled in, like I said earlier, basketball, track, and especially lacrosse. So there you have it. That's my list. Over to you, my brother.
Yeah. I knew he was gonna go in that direction. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. We're going, and I love everybody. Sue Wicks, great. You know what I'm saying? Mullen, he was. I mean, I'm telling you, we splitting hairs with a lot of players here. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a lot of players I wanted to put in, but it didn't. But I just go to the players that spoke to me during my era. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna kick it off with number 5. Number 5 is
number 5.
Yeah, let's do the music and all the theatrics. Yeah, let's go. Number 5, top 5 college athletes who played New York, New Jersey. Number 5, Ray Rice. Ray Rice, who went to Rutgers. Look, Ray Rice had over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns at Rutgers. An absolute beast. Believe he finished 7th in the Heisman voting in 2006. Shout out to Ray Rice and Rutgers, man. And look, Ray Rice was not quite my era as far as my youth. So maybe not as high up on the list, whatever. But again, had to put him up there. And I wanted to show Rutgers some love. And I wanted to show football some love because when college hits my mind, I automatically go to the court. It's just a natural instinct. So don't take my bias personal. But let's go to number 4.
Number 4.
All right, Felipe Lopez, 16 points, 5 rebounds a game at St. John's. Believe he came out, was drafted by the Spurs in 98. So Felipe Lopez played all 4 years at St. John's. Well, now they doing it now because of NIL. They getting money, but back then they wasn't getting no bread. It was just staying for the love of the game, you know what I'm saying? And this brother loved the game, you know what I'm saying? And got me being a fan, like a real fan of St. John's, along with somebody else on this list, who we're going to get to here soon. But had to show Felipe Lopez some love. Wasn't the greatest NBA player, so it's not about an NBA career. But in college, he was that dude tearing it up, man, at St. John's. So let's go to number 3.
Number 3.
I put another St. John's alum up here, Mr. Mark Jackson. Could have easily threw Chris Mullin up there, but Mark Jackson wasn't the greatest scorer, not even in the NBA, man. But Mark Jackson was a true point guard, man, and the way he played basketball, man, at St. John's, man, I think he averaged over 9 assists in his sophomore season. So, which, a lot of people don't do anymore. You know what I'm saying? And you could see, that playground mentality in Mark Jackson's game. I always love watching him play from college to the pros. And yeah, Chris Mullin was another one. Coach mentioned Chris Mullin, but I that's why I say St. John's my second favorite college team. You know what I'm saying? Because of some of these players that I watched, growing up. But Mark Jackson was definitely one of them. Had a better pro career than a college career, actually. I think he only averaged like 10 points a game or something like that, but had a high assist number, as I mentioned, over 9 a game one season. So let's go to number 2.
Number 2.
Y'all knew this was coming. Carmelo Anthony, Syracuse alum. Yeah, what can you say, man? Melo, champion, man. All-American. One of the top players to go to Syracuse as far as basketball is concerned. Future NBA Hall of Famer. So Carmelo Anthony had to show him some love on this list. I mean, hey, man, you know how it go, man. Sometimes people forget how great you were, you know what I'm saying, because they have revisionist history, man. But back in Syracuse, man, this dude was tearing it up. Only went there for 1 year, so some people be like, can you put him up there? But what did he do? He won a title. So. All right. Let's go to number
1.
Yeah, me and Coach seen this one out of eye. It's Jim Brown, man. I was not going to leave Jim Brown off this list. because I have to be fair. I would have put all basketball players up there, bro, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? If I wasn't thinking, nah, Jim Brown, because there was some good players that never liked Donovan McNabb, his punk ass, but Jim Brown was that dude back in the day on the football field. Now, prior to my era, so you know, this might have been a steal off a coach's list a little bit, but Jim Brown should make everybody's list when it comes to top 5, you know, college, NFL, like, he players of all time, you know what I'm saying? So just what he did from the game, you know, also being an activist and various other roles that he played in life. Respect. And I have respect. Number 1, Jim Brown, the OG. There you got it. What you think? Coach, mute it.
Sorry about that.
Nah, you're good.
Nah, I respect, you know, the list you brought out. I mean, you hit a lot of key points. Like, I understand about Melo, and, you know, Syracuse was really hard, though. Syracuse was really hard because, you know, look, you can say what you want about Donovan, but when he was at Syracuse, he was a beast. He was
That's
a dog.
true. That's true.
And see, I could talk about another Syracuse quarterback, Don McPherson, who back in the 80s into the 90s, he was another one, you know, and like you said about basketball, and like I said, I was going down the Rutgers list, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's this one, it's that one.
Yeah.
You know, and there's the 1976 team that was undefeated during the regular season and made it to the Final Four. And there's a lot of guys on that list. And some of them was from New York, Phil Sellers and, you know, Roy Henson. I mean, it's like you sit here and you go through it and you're like, the tri-state New York area, there's baseball on all these lists. Like, that's why when you said it to me and I started doing my research, I was like, yo, this is way too much.
Yeah, because I want you to condense it. Because I want you to make it personal. That's why I do that. You know what I'm saying? Because there is a lot, you know what I'm saying? This clearly ain't the top 5, like, as far as best or greatest or most accomplished of all time. I want it to be personal because this is our show.
And I get that. and that's my point. It's like, like I went through and I was like, you know, wait a minute. You know, I even brought up a map and I was looking at the map. All the just in New York alone, and I'm like, yo, I'm forgetting about Columbia, Fordham. Yeah, you know, look, we could talk about Wagner. There were some good athletes at Wagner. You go into Long Island with Hofstra, and schools. I'm like, yo, you know, and then look, we talk about the tri-state. I mean, we haven't touched on Connecticut, to be honest with you. You know, and we need to start doing that. UConn, let's be real. UConn alone, just in basketball, both men's and women.
I feel like Connecticut be trying to separate themselves though. Nah, they do act a act a little bougie up there.
No.
In some areas,
maybe to you, but because
I do feel like Connecticut sometimes they feel like they a little on the outside.
No, see, here's the thing, because
especially with UConn. Really is with UConn. That school is what it is.
I
coached UConn
a lot of minor league, semi-pro football games in Connecticut, and I met a lot of great people.
Yeah, it ain't Connecticut people. I think it's what my stigma is coming from the school UConn.
Yeah, and that's my point, because Connecticut is split. It's like Jersey. You have North Jersey, which is tied to New York, and South Jersey, which is tied to Philly. But with Connecticut, north part of Connecticut is tied to Massachusetts, Boston, and the south part is tied to. So there's a lot of people that you know they're like, yo, I'm a Yankees fan. I'm I'm a Knicks fan, or I'm a what in football, they're the Jets or the Giants, whatever. Like they're split, so it's like, and why do you think they call it the tri-state area? It's
Yeah.
New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut.
Yeah.
And we always put Connecticut. We treat them like the little brothers or sisters.
But not UConn. So as a sports show, that's what I'm kind of referring to.
I get what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? Like Connecticut people. Nah, I got family from Connecticut. Yeah.
We what I'm getting at, like
but
one of my boys who I grew up with
on here, Connecticut's on the outsider.
Look up Tate. I know you know Tate George. I grew up with him in Plainfield, and another thing, and he played for the Nets. And he'll always tell you, when he went to UConn, he was repping Jersey, and a lot of people was repping Jersey, And then of course, of course with the Big East and playing up against Rutgers, of course it was natural to to have the battles, especially with C-Viv and the women. But he was always like, yo, I'm still Jersey, and I always talk about it whenever I go up there, and people respect it. So I get what you're saying though. And there is that perception that they are bougie, but there's a lot of people up there who really, they'll be like, nah, we ain't bougie, bro. Go to Bridgeport, the
hood. That's what I'm saying.
Like,
yeah. I know. I've been up to Connecticut plenty of times. We used to go up there
Hartford, all that. Yeah,
Hartford,
it's like,
Bridgeport. Yeah,
it's like,
it's an extension. It's an extension of New York. But I'm just referring to like as a sports show. Connecticut is.
But
because it's UConn, because that's really all they got.
You
see what I'm saying? It's really UConn. It's all they got.
People in New York who also do the same.
And they got the women's team, and I don't got no bias to them, but
I get what you're saying. But that's why I'm saying, as a show, I'm trying to start to include them a little bit more into what we're talking about. Because we talked about it, like with Syracuse, we're not taking them out completely, but they're more northwestern New York, so they're more upstate, where UConn is more closer. And I'm like, all right, we can still include both of them, but it's like, I got to be fair. We got to start including UConn in here.
Yeah, because I feel like they are more connected for basketball reasons. Yes. Than anything else. Both schools, because Syracuse and because even in football, nobody give a fuck about Syracuse football in New York.
When they were in the Big East, it was always Rutgers and Connecticut. Trust me, in Rutgers Nation, we hated Connecticut. We hated them, because it was a battle. It was a battle, recruiting everything. So, and then Rutgers women with UConn and basketball. Trust me, there's that level of, because I even said, I'm like, that Ed, is it partly because you don't talk about them because you have this level of disdain for them? I'm like, yeah, it's like the state pen. I have a certain level of disdain for them. So
all right, man, let's wrap this thing up, man. Getting the coach's corner, man, it's getting late, but appreciate the chat, man. Nice turnout tonight, man. Appreciate y'all showing us love. Like and subscribe. Make sure you do that. And make sure you sub up to my of course this channel, Aboriginal Sports Network, Unpopular Opinion Sports, Coach Ed Sports, and the producer down there on the track, Mr. Big Pat Sports Talk. But as we always do, we wrap our show up with the coach's corner, man. And Coach lays out all his news and notes from the area of college and women's sports, man. I love this segment, man. Go ahead, Coach. You got it, man.
All right. Getting into another coach's corner. So I appreciate everyone for being here. And we just gonna get right into it. Gonna start with the ladies. Liberty is tied into the Liberty. And with that being said, WNBA reached a tentative agreement on the CBA late last night, 3 a.m. this morning. So Oops. So, congratulations to the ladies. Congratulations to you. Both sides are excited after the long hours put into negotiating this contract. Um, it's a verbal agreement right now. So right now they're working, and what they're doing is they're working on finalizing everything. And in essence, they're just crossing their T's and dotting their I's. Once that's finished, it's going to go to the players and the board of governors to basically okay that. Then after that, we're going to get into the expansion phase, which is the draft phase, the expansion draft, the players draft, and then also free agency. And there's a lot. I have a list on Twitter that I was sharing with some guys. There's a lot of players on there, and I told you 80% before, have are free agents. So there's a lot of signings to go on, and that's all going to start right at the beginning of April. Training camps are projected to start April 19th, and eventually the season's going to start in May. So, I'm ecstatic that this deal is done and we can get into the business of getting to play basketball, because last night, Leaf and Cave will tell you, I was more pessimistic and concerned that we were going to miss the start of the season. So, again, congratulations on getting that done. So, I'm going to move over to in touching with the NCAAs. The LIU and Hofstra. Both teams have received their seedings and their opponents. LIU is seeded 16th in the West and will face off against number 1 Arizona in their region. Exactly. That's on Friday at 1:35 p.m. Hofstra is seeded 13th in the Midwest and will play number 4 Alabama, and that will be Friday at 3:15 p.m. So good luck to both universities. We hope they do well and have a good time, and I know they're going to represent the area well. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to some Rutgers news. Now, in football news, it was announced that the football program is adding former NFL assistant Mike Sullivan to his staff as a senior offensive assistant. Sullivan has run the circuit in the NFL as a coordinator, quarterback coach, and wide receiver coach. He was actually with Coach Shiano down in Tampa Bay as the offensive coordinator down there, and locally he actually is coached on the New York Giants as a wide receiver coach in 2004 to 2004 to 2009. 2000. 2010 and to 2011. 2015, and also as the OC in 2016 to 2017. So there you have it. Welcome aboard, Coach. He's going to bring a vast of experience to the organization. Now, the program is heavy into recruiting, having sent out several offers to high-level high school recruits. So I'm going to be keeping an ear out to any possible commitments and signing. Now, in basketball news, Athletic Director Kelly Zinn said head coach Steve Pikiell will be returning next year, and she's confident in the plan he laid out to turn the program around. She also further stated that there will be a stronger financial commitment to the basketball program through the NIL program, and that's going to be an effort to bring in better talent, especially through the transfer portal. Now, there is expectation of current players transferring out. Many of these players are believed that the staff, they really don't want them, and they're making strong pushes to push them out the door. But there's also some players that they don't want to leave. They want to keep them. 3 of the players many fans are hoping stay are Tariq Francis, Lino Mark, both guards, and Darren Buchanan, who's a forward. Now, it's also believed that freshmen Caden Powers and Harun Zarno and Chris Kououli will be returning. They did show some promise throughout the season, so I'll be keeping an eye out on that. Also, we need to keep an eye out to watch to see if associate head coach Brandon Knight will be offered the possible opening as head coach at Pitt. If so, Knight, who is an alum there and was a star, even having his jersey retired, will probably take the job. That will also mean that Francis may actually leave and go with Knight, because Francis and Knight are very close, and Francis is from Pittsburgh, so it would be a homecoming for him in his final season. So This year, Francis was the leading scorer for the Scarlet Knights, so it would be a big deal, if this were to happen. Also, on the men's side, current general manager Rob Sullivan, who worked the position for both basketball programs, will now only work with the men's team, as it was announced the new women's head coach will be bringing in his own general manager. So we'll keep an eye out on that. And finally, in the men's news, Rutgers has also agreed to participate in the College Basketball Crown Tournament, the CBC. It starts April 2nd at 10:30 p.m. They'll be playing Creighton, and the games are going to be played in Las Vegas. Coach Peichel, he said that the players wanted to keep playing, and when the offer came, they accepted. So we're going to see a little bit more basketball from the men, hopefully, and see where it goes. On the women's side, the women actually held their the women's basketball held their introductory press conference for new head coach Gary Reedus. Reedus spoke about recruiting nationally, but also put an emphasis on locking down the Jersey tri-state area. Now he's considered a top recruiter and wants to build relationships in the area that will help facilitate impactful recruiting. He is big on that aspect and looks forward to establishing the necessary relationship with all the local high school coaches and the players going forward. Now he's also bringing an assistant coach up from LSU, Daphne Mitchell. She brings a wealth of experience and a championship pedigree to the banks of the old Raritan. One of her key things that she does well is help develop post players. So it's a big get for Rutgers for her to come over and join the staff. Now, one of the other things is she's the best friend of Redis's wife, as they both play together at Georgia Tech. So welcome aboard, Coach, to Rutgers. Now I'm going to move on to Seton Hall news. The Pirates ended their season in the Big East tournament as they eventually lost to the eventual champion St. John's. So great season for Seton Hall all overall. Much respect to them. Now, they turned down any tournaments after not being selected for the NCAA. So there was talk they were going to be offered to the NIT and the CBC, but they said no. With them not being selected, they just wanted to end their season. And with that, their season ends with 21 wins and 12 losses, finishing fourth in the Big East. And of course, as I said previously, head coach Shaheen Holloway was coach of the year in the Big East. So congratulations to him. So finally, in a little special local news for me personally, shout out to my high school, Plainfield, as my Cardinals finished the season as back-to-back state champions. That's a big deal in the city of Plainfield. They'll also be playing in the Throne tournament. It's a tournament for highly ranked and competitive high school programs from around the country. Last year, Plainfield competed in the same tournament and defeated the number one seeded team that was from Cal at the time. This time they're facing the number one team in Jersey, Bergen Catholic. This is actually a game that many fans in New Jersey have been waiting for. They've been clamoring for it. This game is actually going to be played at the Mall of America in the Meadowlands, March the 19th at 8 p.m. So I'm definitely going to be tuned into that and excited about it. And one last thing, all-stater, all-everything guard, junior guard Micah Gordon. In the championship game, he had a massive dunk, and NewJersey.com, the state media outlet, they actually said it was the dunk of the year. So if you have a chance, look it up. Micah Gordon, state championship. You'll see it. I mean, he threw it down over a kid. I think the kid was about 6'7", and Gordon is about 6 feet. So there you have it. That's Coach's Corner. Back to you, my brother, and YG. You're muted.
Okay. Here we go. But good stuff, coach. And good thing that the ladies got a deal done. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to worry about that. And look, man, we talk a lot about Rutgers, and I'm thinking though, man, like especially with the basketball, you know, when they had Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey, you know, like that's kind of like a once in a blue type deal. So, and you ain't really do nothing with that. So I'm just thinking, like, I don't know, man. I don't know where they, you know, kind of the direction. You know what I mean?
Here's one of the biggest issues. They did not have suitable NIL money. That's why this new AD is critical. She has come in and she has hit the pavement and she is drawing in money. When you compare it to a lot of the other teams in the Big Ten, Rutgers was bottom, and they weren't even on close to the bottom teams. They were, you know, if you want to say probably at close to the bottom, with some of the mid majors, the money that they were coming in, that they were trying to pay other kids. You know, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey did not get any money at Rutgers. It's not like they were getting $5 million. I think they barely got $1 million. So you think about that. Those kids wanted to come here because it was Rutgers. Well, now the NIL, Shiano, she's got money. Look, Shiano paid KJ Duff a little over $1 million to stay at Rutgers, and that's unheard of. So
that's crazy.
And she's getting the money. And think about it. That's what people don't realize. The football team has over 100 kids, and all these kids get something. So she's raising the money, and and she's doing that for basketball. And she's saying, "Well, we're gonna get you the money. So now, Eichel, you get the money. You laid out your plan. Get the players." And if you don't get the players, then he's going to be probably out the door.
Yeah.
Because, and now with this with the new coach in basketball, he's going to get the money, and he's going to get think about it. I mean, he go look at the girls he brought down to what you call it, Flage, Angel Reese. I mean, all those kids that went there to LSU, they were recruited by him. So guess what that's saying? Number one, Rutgers, you better get this man this money, because he will recruit. And he will. Now, there's people questioning his X's and O's because he's a first-time head coach. Fair. But if he gets the because he said it in his prayer, talent wins out. So, now if he can get the and I forgot to put that in the whatchamacallit. Second day in, he's already made an offer to some of the high-level recruits across the country. Second day in. So it's like...
Gotta close the deal, though. You know what I'm saying?
No, I get that. And that's where the money comes in, because the perception of Rutgers is not good right now. So So now if he can say, look, if you come here, we're on course to change it. We need players like you. What better way to come in and set your own legacy as opposed to go somewhere else where you're just going to be part of what's already established. Because if you're a true competitor, and look, Coquise, she did get some players. She just didn't keep them because the culture and the coaching and the development. So that's why it's like, this guy has been around the national spectrum and he's well respected. So, and he's a big get for Rutgers, because eventually somebody else would have got him, and a more, maybe a program that probably has a little bit better record, but he's playing in the Big Ten, so, and it's tough in the Big Ten, so.
Yeah, we've seen what those schools can do. But that being said, we're gonna wrap this up. Appreciate everybody for tapping in. Pat, where did we go wrong tonight on our list?
Not including some of the Connecticut players. Then Diana Taurasi played for Connecticut. I think she's one of the all-time greats in college basketball, period.
Fair point.
Yeah,
That's
people
it.
like
Stewie. I mean, Stewie, I made the argument before. Is she the greatest women's winner? Because she won 4 championships in college alone. In high school, she's won 3 WNBAs, 2 internationally, and she has multiple medals. And now she has the unrivaled championship.
Yeah, Diana Taurasi is one of the most decorated basketball players. Not just women, men. Just one of the best decorated basketball players of all time. You gotta give her some respect. I'm surprised both you guys didn't have Melo on your list. Melo held it down. I said both of y'all probably should have Melo on y'all list
because Pat, I will say this. Because of Jim Brown and Ernie Davis, because I was battling Melo, and I said Ernie Davis he won the Heisman, and then I went down towards Terry DeHare, and what he put it on because he said even though he was there for 1 year, and my argument was, damn Melo, you were only there for 1 year, where these other players. Sue Wicks, National Player of the Year, and I have to respect that. And Terry DeHare, with what he did at Seton Hall, 3 years getting into the NCAAs, which is unheard of, especially at Seton Hall. I get it.
Let me ask you a question. Name one other player on that Syracuse basketball team that won a championship besides Melo.
What's his name? McNamara. He was the guard.
That was it. I knew he was gonna say him, the little white guard.
No, I get you. I get what you're saying, and I remember the center. I just don't remember his name.
Exactly. So, so did Melo put Syracuse basketball on the map?
Did he put it on the map? No, Pearl Washington did. Did he carry
Syracuse
him to the
basketball been on the map?
Yeah, so that's why I can go on. Ronnie Cycli back in the days as the center. I mean, now look, I'm not saying he was the greatest, but during the era of the Big East, he was going up with Bill Ellington, Patrick Ewing. He was in there battling them each and every game. So I get what you're saying when you say put it on the map. What I'm saying is Pearl Washington put them on the map. Melo won the championship, so he made them more of a national. No, because the Big East was nationally renowned. So
you said the Big East. That was Georgetown. That was Connecticut. That was
that was Syracuse back in the days.
Syracuse, Seton Hall, Villanova.
Seton Hall, Villanova,
Providence,
Syracuse.
Syracuse was probably behind Seton Hall.
That was my shit. Big East was my shit,
had Derek. Don't forget about Derek Coleman.
Yeah, Syracuse was nice,
Wallace.
bro. He's right. Syracuse been on the
map. I thought Derek
Coleman. No, they had Derek Coleman and John, because I was considering putting Derek Coleman on my list.
Derek Coleman was nice.
And John Wallace. John Wallace was nice too. Remember, he got drafted by the Knicks.
Yes.
I know my basketball, bro.
But Derek Coleman, I forgot he played for Syracuse.
Yeah, so I can sit here and go on about Syracuse and the Big East.
I just think Melo, man. I think Melo,
because he won a national.
But Melo, I had to put Melo over all of them, and I didn't want to put like 2 or 3. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm old school, because Ernie Davis, first of all, Heisman Trophy, I have to respect that.
And he got drafted by who? Who did Ernie Davis get drafted by?
Ernie Davis, because they did the movie. Was it the Browns? But he ended up passing away.
Yeah.
And then of course
Ernie
Jim
Davis
Brown
was nice. Now Jim Brown got to be number 1.
And Paul Robeson, for what he did during his era. See, that's the thing.
See, I would have had Melo over him.
But what he did during his era, that's the whole point. Because he was first number 1 to go to Rutgers as an African American. and to go on to the football. No, second to go to Rutgers, but first to go on the football team. So he dealt with a lot of racism, and he was dominant. When I'm telling you, during his era, he go look it up, bro. And then he.
I know what you're talking
and
about.
then-
Yeah.
And then I even said it. He got 12 varsity letters. That's why it's like, it's not that I'm just saying, Melo over him. Melo, he got the national championship, and what he did as a freshman is respected. That's why I was like, I'm saying, and Chris Mullin, that's why I broke it
Now
down.
Chris Mullin is dope. You got to put Chris Mullin on there. But
Yeah,
I'll tell you one that I would have put over Mark Jackson, and that's Kemba Walker. Thank you. Kemba Walker was
Make the
was
argument.
nice.
I mean, they had
and
a lot
he
of
was the
guards.
driving force for them to get in that championship too.
But what
Like,
was the center too? What was the center? And when
oh man, I can't think
Emeka
of his name.
Okafor.
Yeah,
Okafor.
Okafor. There you go.
Yeah, so that's why I'm saying, Pat. This shout out to you, NYG. Great job. This
Yeah,
was
I
like,
always
it's
love
so-
these coaches segments, and
This
I'm from Chicago, so
But
y'all
everything
got
everything you're saying is 100% true, and we can sit here and go back and forth. It's just like everyone is deserving. They really are.
Yeah. The only thing I'm disappointed in those lists, man, if I could say disappointment, is Diana Taurasi not being on one of those.
But see, you can only pick 5. So that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it personal to you. So if you make a list, you thinking about all these players and all these teams, but then you thinking about who you like and who was special in your time and era
tough,
and something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like all coaches, much respect. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of them was your era. You know what I'm saying? My era, these are the players that, you know what I'm saying, I watched, you know what I'm saying, as a kid growing up, wanting to be a basketball player. I actually want to be in the NBA. That was my dream when I was little. But yeah, so
Mark Jackson is tough too, man.
Yes.
He played.
You could have Walter Berry, Malik Sealy. It's like,
Malik Sealy.
It's like, whoa, God rest in peace to Malik Sealy. But that's what I'm saying. It was just like, and that St. John's team was tough. Like everyone talks, everybody belittles Bill Wellington, but you don't realize
Bill Wellington was nice at St. John's.
Yes, that's the point. That's why.
What's the Jameer Nelson?
Yeah, Jason Williams. Don't forget about Jason Wilson.
Williams.
So it's like, yo, St. John's has had players, and it's like, and
wasn't him and Delonte West on the St. John's at one time?
No, St. Joseph. That was
St.
Philadelphia.
Joseph.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but yeah, we're gonna end it up, man. We're gonna wrap it up. But yeah, this was dope, man. This was a good show, man. Appreciate each and every one of y'all for tuning in.
That was St. Joseph.
Don't forget, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, man, for all us here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. Myself on Popular Opinion Sports, Coach Ed Sports, and Big Pat Sports Talk. So 118 in the books. Until next time, man. Y'all know what it is, man. We're gonna roll up out of here, man.
Peace.